which is the Powerball. It is up to it's going to be 1.7 billion, they think, by the time of the drawing. Obviously, that sounds great. It's a fantasy that everybody has, but the reality is that sometimes things go very, very wrong for people who win these.
They just don't know how to handle it.
Yeah,
big money can bring big problems.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not our problem here, I don't think.
You speak as if you know this, Jim.
More money, more problems. It's the problems maybe we want to have.
Yes.
Yeah,
but here's a couple of examples, okay? Because I do think it's interesting to hear these horror stories. In 2001, a guy named David Lee Edwards from Kentucky, he won and lost his share of a $280 million Powerball jackpot in just 5 years by basically overspending on mansions, private jets. I like that it's plural. Private jets and expensive cars.
More than one.
Yeah. Okay. Give me another horror story.
2002, Jack Whitaker. He won $315 million, biggest Powerball jackpot in history at that time. What did he do? He gave away millions to people.
That sounds good. Why is that bad?
Well, I don't know, but he also lost millions in lawsuits. Ooh. So something was wrong there. He also had other issues and famously said he wished he had torn up the ticket.
Wow. All right. So personal finance expert Bobbi Rebell is going to join us with what winners should do and what to avoid. Bobbi, great to have you. I mean, even if you don't win the 1.7 billion, there are people who come into a windfall of money. What's the first thing you should do?
Well, first of all, those are really devastating stories. And by the way, thank you for having me. The first thing you should do is nothing. Just take a beat and enjoy the moment. And then you should start thinking about gathering a team around you so that they can protect you from all of those things that you guys just mentioned, right? So you want to make sure you have a good financial advisor, hopefully someone who is credentialed and maybe not a relative, maybe somebody that specializes in high net worth individuals. You also want to get a lawyer involved. Maybe you can set up some trust, protect some of the money. And you also may even want to have some physical protection because people can get weird when there's a lot of money at stake, right?
Oh, yeah. There are actually some cases where, because in some states you have to disclose when you win, that people are then robbed. You know, there's horror stories of some things that can happen crime-wise afterwards.
And relatives sometimes come out of the woodwork and become your best closest friend. How do you handle that? How do you deal with family members who might suddenly want to be part of your winnings?
Well, you deal with it very delicately because hopefully in the best case scenario, these aren't necessarily people that come out of the woodwork. They may be people that you truly care for and that are, the people closest to you in your life. So you want to be very delicate with it. One good thing is to set up systems, maybe something where you say, okay, I'm going to set up an annuity for you and we're going to put this amount of money with my financial team into a trust and you'll get, effectively an allowance every year so that they don't just go and, blow the money that you give them so that it's thoughtful. Maybe you put up some parameters and say, I will put aside this money. Let's say it's a young adult, but it's only to be used for, a down payment for your first home, something like that. So you're helping them, but in a controlled, deliberate, and intentional way.
How can people get help in terms of planning for this unexpected windfall?
Well, it's important to take the time to do the research and really vet the people that are going to work with you. You want to look for people that have experience with high net worth individuals that are going to know exactly, what the kind of difficulties are that you're going to be facing and can, to the point I was making earlier, help you set up systems so that you can control the chaos because so many different things are going to be coming at you. So you want someone who has credentials, you want someone who has a team, and you want someone who's going to be a buffer between you and the scam artists, all the legitimate businesses. A legitimate business can also go bad, right? Also legitimate investments, whether it's real estate. You mentioned this gentleman was buying all of these mansions and stuff. A good advisor is going to say to you, well, real estate is a good way to diversify sometimes and invest. But remember, there are costs involved in real estate. There are liabilities. So you want someone that's going to also advise you to put up protection like the right insurance, right? Umbrella insurance, things that will be there to make sure that you don't get taken advantage of, that you don't fall into unprecedented habits that you maybe had never thought of before.
Bobbi, I heard this incredible statistic. Is it true that 1/3 of lottery winners go broke afterwards?
So it's so interesting that you say that. Unfortunately, there's no one authority saying this, and there's statistics that have been attributed to many different people. The range is actually the best number is that a third, right? The best number that you see most often is 30%, but you also see numbers as high as 70%. And unfortunately, this doesn't surprise me because remember, many people getting this money don't have any experience with this kind of wealth, and they don't know what to do. And they unfortunately do have bad actors in their ear, or even well intentioned but unskilled or inexperienced people in their ears giving them advice. And that's where things can really go astray. And it's sad.
And that
But we
gets
know
back
the
to,
winner of this is going to get the right team.
yeah, exactly. And take a beat, as you said. Don't do anything right
Take a
away.
beat. There's no rush. The goal is to have the money forever. And so, what is the rush, right?
And so, for someone thinking about making, like, let's say you get a windfall and you
Mhm.
want to make a major life change, do they start by, I mean, here are some of the things people talk about: buying
Mhm.
property, starting a business, retiring early. Do you have advice for where they should start with any of those dreams?
Start really slowly. You want to start a business, that's great. But remember, in theory, you already have a lot of money. So you want to be conservative. You want to be really careful. Even the best businesses have high failure rates. So make sure that you are really careful in researching it and taking your time. You may want to buy all this property. Maybe you buy one home, but understand what the overhead is to carry that home, right? You don't want things to get out of control. So really be slow and deliberate and thoughtful when you make these major life decisions. And by the way, you mentioned, retiring early. A lot of people have been part of this movement called the FIRE movement, financial independent retire early. They often go back to work because you have your day-to-day life and people don't always want to just kind of sit around at the pool lounging. People maybe want to do something productive. I think you guys all enjoy your jobs. I enjoy what I do. So be careful before you throw in the towel. You may actually enjoy it more when you don't have to be there. When you're choosing to be there, you may enjoy that job or career that you had before. So be careful. Take your time.
Bobbi, you say you enjoy your job, but what would you
I
do? We
do.
have to ask you if you won.
I First of all, I am going to win because I do have the ticket. And I'll say this right now, if I win, I will still be happy to be a regular guest on your program. How's that?
Thank
Really?
you, Bobby. That is great
Thanks.
news for all of us. We really appreciate you being here. That's great advice because the dream is I'll retire, but you don't think about the lifestyle impact on that and what a big psychological change that would be. I'm glad that she pointed that out. It would be nice to keep working when you don't have to.
She said form a team, so I'm volunteering.
Oh yes, you'll be our
Allison,
team.
I'll be on Team
Oh,
Allison
thank you,
when
thank
you
you,
win.
to
They
help
said
me
a
invest
non-relative.
my money.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you,
exactly.
Jim.
But for a cut.
I really
Right.
appreciate
For a
that.
cut.
Mark's on the team too.
Right. Absolutely.